Yeah, it is. All right, Nick White, I don't know who you are, so I'm going to be equally brutal about how bad both of these players are playing or how good both of these players are playing. I don't know the ranks. I don't know the player. I don't know who the Patreon in this particular cast is. So without further ado, in the top right, we got the Red Zerg player, Schmoogen. And as part of the bottom left, the blue Protoss, ArtoriusRex. Now, this will be an interesting one for me because normally, at least when I know who the Patreon is, we can kind of pay more attention to their point of view, I suppose. We'll see how this one goes for these players. Now, to be clear, if you guys aren't sure of what's going on or why you're watching this particular game, we're the Korean pros, Rifkin. This is a Patreon replay reward available through the Base Trade TV Patreon exclusively. I don't do replay casts. I know there are other people who do. I typically don't. I don't enjoy them. Don't get me wrong, guys. Love your faces. Thank you for the support. But they're not my cup of tea. However, I'm willing to suck it up and cast these games, no matter how good or bad they are, no matter how amazing the titles of the replays are. I do this because it's the best way I think I can help give back for you guys supporting the Patreon. So if you are somebody who's a high enough tier to support the Patreon, or you're not, but you would like to have a replay cast, consider checking it out on patreon.com/basetradeTV. I have a sneaking suspicion, which... Guys, I think I just solved the mystery of which guy... I think I just solved the mystery of which guy has to go get ice cream. I have to go soon, so I will probably be aggressive, he says. Oh, we're putting this puzzle together, guys, one piece at a time. There you go! I was invited to ice cream. What does that even mean? Like... Hey, dude, you want to hang out? Nah, but we're getting ice cream. All right, dude, I'll see you there in like 3 minutes. Like, all right, well, let's see how aggressive gets here for Schmoogen. If I was ArtoriusRex on the receiving end of this, I would actually just assume that this was like a little bit of a mind game tactic. I do this thing where I play rock, paper, scissors, and I look somebody dead in the eyes, I don't blink, and I tell them I'm going rock. Like 80% of the time, I actually go rock to follow it up. But then sometimes I don't, just to mess with people, because everyone now knows that when I do that, I tell the truth. And I feel like that's kind of a similar tactic in StarCraft, like, oh yeah, I'm definitely going to be aggressive. You don't need to scout, just don't worry about it, it's fine, I'm not going 3cc. It's definitely a 2-Rex, believe me. Then they just scout anyways. Anyways, I guess Schmoogen is Mr. Nick on this one, so we'll see how he does. Come up against ArtoriusRex, who I like this name, by the way. It's just fun to say. I'm sorry, Schmoogen, I know you're the Patreon. I like the Protoss's name. Probably because it's got a bit of dinosaur in it. Either way, big scout from the Overlord to see what's going on in the natural. The other one here in the main can float in soon too, and it'd be really key to see what follows up to pair with this robo facility. Just a robo on its own really doesn't pose a threat to anybody. You know, okay, it's an immortal, woo! It's a warp prism, woo! But what can you do with that warp prism if you don't have 4 gateways behind it, right? What can you do with that warp prism if you don't have a Twilight Council and a Templar Archives behind it, right? And so far, ArtoriusRex has neither of those things. Like, my concern is that he has this really great robo. Did he build this totally anticipating a Roach all-in after hearing that his opponent would be aggressive? By the way, I like that Mr. Aggressive here is going like fucking 12 drones deep in the 3rd base. Like... if this was just because he's taking his opponent at face value, then it kind of makes sense. You're worried about a Roach all-in, so you start cranking out Immortals a lot sooner. But, again, that's kind of one of those things where, like, do you believe your opponent to do this? Because the scouting ArtoriusRex has, like, he didn't even see gases beyond 1. Nothing here looks like it's going to be an aggressive all-in. Which, by the way, so far, it's not. But, you see the drone count pick up. ArtoriusRex is literally taking his hands off the keyboard for some reason. Or he's just playing Protoss, I guess. Am I right? All the not Protoss in the audience? Sorry. I know that we have some Protoss in the audience. But just like people with peanut allergies, I don't care about you. The lair really has me intrigued what his game plan for this is. I guess Roach speed, it is going to be a Roach all-in, just hitting it at a different timing that perhaps ArtoriusRex was expecting. A Ravager bus could certainly be effective in this situation. There's not really that many units, so relying on things like a shield battery and a force field would hold off against smaller amounts of army, but not like a really big army push, which I said all in, but then he goes 6 more drones to saturate some of the third, so I'm not quite sure. He's also supply blocked pretty heavily right now. Schmoogen, I know you want that ice cream, dude. You could taste it, but like from me, from one lactose intolerance human being to another, it's not that great. All right, yeah. He's literally both in the way he's playing the game with his supply, as well as in real life, he's trying to eat his dessert before his dinner. And 2 overseers are being morphed, but not more overlords. He's gonna be supply blocked here with like close to 1,000 minerals. That kind of sucks. I'm gonna be really honest, Schmoogen. I do like the Nidus network, by the way. So he's doing this paired with Roach Speed. This will still work. He's got that overlord in the main, so he's had a lot of vision this whole time. The Nidus worm was changed, so just so you guys are aware, it's a little bit more expensive to build the actual Nidus network, but the Nidus worm itself now is only 50 minerals, 50 gas. It's no longer invulnerable while I'm burrowing either. It has 6 armor, so things like immortals can tear through it, but probes cannot. However, I don't believe ArtoriusRex at any point has ventured into the main base. The Phoenix comes in now, but it might die to Queens, so he won't see the Nidus network. Oh, that's... ooh. Oof. There's enough army to deal with this is the thing. Like, the Immortals could come up here and easily blast that thing away as long as his reaction time is quick enough. And there's that Nidus worm coming in the main. Again, not invulnerable nowadays. Huzzah! I want ice cream! Come after me! What's the opposite of huzzah? Because that's whatever the opposite of huzzah is just happened. Thank you. Hello, Zergling. Yes, that's what I was emphasizing, guys. Before, in the patch, each Nidus worm was 100 minerals, 100 gas. Now it's only 50-50. So, yes, while not the most effective use of the Nidus network so far, it's not an expensive loss for him to be building these worms. Just, well, I mean, it's still expensive, but not as expensive as it used to be. Good news, worm's dead. Oh, he doesn't know about this. He's gonna be caught out in the open. Oh, he gets hit from the back attack. There's queens, there's roaches, there's lings. The immortals are pushing out, but he needs to be at home. Strategic recall could be an option, perhaps. He doesn't push up. Neither Nidus in the main? Okay, breaks the robo. Queens decided not to engage. There's enough immortals to deal with the roaches. Forceful's gonna help too, but Forceful's actually gonna, funny enough, keep ArtoriusRex out of the fight. No, Schmoogen's dedicating hard to this. He decides to wrap around and go for the Nexus. He could, Nidus Worm, yeah, and either have a way in to reinforce or a way out of the base. Like, get these roaches out of there as fast as he can. I think he's going to try and drag the army up the ramp. Smart move. Once the army's not paying attention, this Nidus Worm unloads. Got a lot of units in it too, I think, right? No, just a couple of roaches. I take that back. There's a degree of like back and forth that gets done with Nidus Worms when they're done correctly, right? It's one of those things where you distract on the right side to Nidus on the left, and then when they respond to your Nidus on the left, you Nidus on the right. And the idea is that you constantly just tear a player apart from them bouncing back and forth, which unfortunately Schmoogen's not really doing. He's kind of doing like a Nidus Worm, then a Nidus Worm, and they're all coming from the same general direction. So this is a big part of why this is not working for Schmoogen. He, I believe, is dead already in this game. Down to 22 army supply. It doesn't bode well, I gotta say. However, if ArtoriusRex were to push across the map, maybe get caught in a base trade, that's an option here for Schmoogen. Floating a lot of minerals right now, and I think part of that's because a lot of these queens are brought to the front line. It's just no way to make larva enough to use them. There is that push I'm talking about too, by the way. So honestly, Schmoogen, his best bet would be to try a base trade. Like full on kill all your buildings before you kill mine type thing. I don't know that he would necessarily win that fight, but with the amount of minerals he has banked up, he could build a bunch of hatcheries around the map. Not to mention more Nidus Worms over to the main and the natural, but oh, he's coming back home to defend and he doesn't have his army with him. He meets this with a couple of roaches. Mistakes were made. Oh, where's the army? Is it at least coming out of the Nidus? No, it's still sitting in there. Okay, he goes for the attack on the other side. Good show. Oh, the move command hurts so much to watch. Schmoogen, rest in peace, dude. He does get the legs over here, and if he kills the Nexus, then his opponent can't recall home, but he can... Oh, he's going to recall home. That's a bad case is all she wrote, guys. I don't think there's any way for Schmoogen to recover, but you know what? The guy, from what I understand, got ice cream, so Mr. Nick White, I think, ends up being the actual winner. I'm gonna submit this to Base Trade TV for Patreon, if you're cool with that. You know what? I gotta give props to Schmoogen. He's like the first guy to submit like a replay he lost. I like that. I like that. You know, no hubris with this guy. A lot of people just want to show off their wins they got in the ladder. This guy's like, fuck it. I'm gonna just throw up a game on Patreon. So, GG's, ArtoriusRex is your winner. But shoutouts and thank you to Schmoogen for supporting the Patreon, as well as submitting a replay this month. All right, we got one more